Right, okay then. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show the process of making a very simple low poly tree in Blender. Now, starting on just a new basic workspace, I'm going to kind of head in. I'm going to add myself a mesh and I'm going to add myself a UV sphere in order to do this. So this is just very simple. At the moment it's got far too many faces, so what I'm going to do down here in add UV sphere is I'm going to actually pull this down to a smaller number. Now I'm going to try and make this tutorial as simple as possible and just go for 3 segments and 3 rings. And I'm going to I'll pull the radius down to 0.5 so that it's a larger tree but not absolutely huge. Okay, so when we do this, we basically end up with this sort of triangular prism that's got pyramids, well, not pyramids, but spikes on the top. Now, what's going to happen is we're effectively going to turn the center into the trunk and the top and the bottom into branches and roots. Okay, pressing tab in order to get into edit mode. If tab's not working for some reason, pop on up here and make sure you're in edit mode. In order to start this section, we need to head up here and select faces, which is also number 3 on the top of your keyboard. And I'm going to just click and hold left mouse button and select the top faces here, just the top faces and no other. And then I'm going to hit number 1, so I'm viewing it from the side, holding down shift and my middle mouse button just to kind of pan and tilt, zoom out as well, scrolling, just so I've got a bit of height to deal with. At which point I'm going to do control and right click, and as you can see I've now started building up my trunk, and then I'm going to hit S and scale it inwards a little bit. Just because that is how trees work, they get a little bit tapered as you go up them. Now you can make this tree as tall as you want, but I'm going to stick to doing it there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the actual branches coming off these points. So if I grab hold of one of these and press number 1 on my number pad, you can see that I'm the actual face is actually looking away from me. You need it to do that because when you actually then do control and right click again, it goes off in the right direction. Again, scale it down so it starts looking a bit more like a branch, and just keep on extruding with control, right click and scaling. Okay, now we've got the branches coming along. Now, of course, if you're using a real tree as a reference, kind of look at a proper picture. I'm just going off the top of my head here. I'm going to get this face now, press number 1 so I'm not looking at it. You can usually just see there's like a faint outline on here where it's slightly white. And this time I'm going to actually make this branch go off in this direction. And again, pressing control and right click and scaling it down as I go. And this branch is just kind of bent. Now, last face, this time I'm going to press 3 on my number pad, and you can just about see which direction it is. There's like a little white here, and I'm going to have this one slightly going up. Again, control, right click, scale with S. Not going to make this one as massive. And what we have there is our basic branches. I know it doesn't look like much at this point, but you can actually turn this into a high poly tree later on, but we're just going to stick in this video to low poly trees. Okay, popping off in this direction with my roots. Again, control right click, scale, control right click, scale, control right click, scale, just to get myself some roots. Not trying to overcomplicate the process at all, just want something that works. 3 on my numpad, and once again, control right click, control right click, control right click until I've got this. Now, If at this point you're feeling to yourself that you don't like the position of any particular one of your roots or your branches, it's dead simple. Go up here, press Edge Select. If you don't know if you can't click that for some reason, just use number 2 on your numbers at the top of your keyboard. I'm going to hold on to Alt, and then I'm going to click on this one here because I don't like the positioning of this root. I'm going to move it now, so I'm going to actually move it, but in order to move it, I'm going to press O on my keyboard first to activate proportional editing, which is this little circle up here. Now, I'm going to look at this from above with number 7 on my number pad, and I'm going to press G, and as you can see, now the whole root, this little ring, I can change this ring by scrolling in and out, so just scrolling in and out if you want to get more control, and you can just kind of move it, and all I did there was press G and Y, very important that, so when you've got one of these selected, press G, and then in order to move it only in the Y direction, after I've got this activated, just press Y, and it locks the direction of movement. It gives you a lot more control. Nice and simple really, isn't it? Let's move some of these branches around as well. So I'm going to grab hold of, say, this branch here. I'm going to Alt and left click to get that, and I think G and Y again because I kind of want it to move this way. You can see it even slightly bends the entire tree, which is a more natural feeling. Again, that one here, I'm going to Alt and right click, and I'm going to G and Y to move it slightly in this direction. And this one here as well, I think. G, I'm going to pull in my proportional editing just a little bit so it doesn't move as many things, and if you need to, just sort of gently nudge individual parts along to get the effect that you want. So depending on how crooked or bendy you want your tree. Right, and oddly enough, I'm not actually going to go any further than that as far as making the structure of the tree is concerned, because I'm actually going to use this in a UV wrapping tutorial in a little bit. But there we go, that is how to, as fast as possible, create the structure of a low poly tree.